Okay, here's an epic, one of these epic gang stalking uh, examples. That book there, I've been carrying around for a couple of years with me. A few books, in my defense, also a King James version of the Bible. But as explained in this introduction here to Gerald Massey's book, they do all tell the same story. Well, mostly the same story. All this old knowledge is coded in the Bible anyway. But I met a dude down that was camping next to me down at McKee. If you see that flat Earth kicked out of that camping ground for a flat Earth sign in McKee in Nelson, and this guy showed up next to me in a bongo van, and his name was Jordy, and he fixed something, some electronics in my high-ace van, almost like he'd read the manual. He said he was an electrician. And he fixed something behind the dash, had the dashboard off in 5 minutes and fixed something electronic in about 20 minutes. It was really quite astounding, almost like he'd read the whole manual. And nice chap, got along well. And he'd flogged a whole box of cheeries from down the road, he reckoned, which I wasn't that impressed with. But he'd gone vegan, and then he decided while he was there for a few days that the earth was flat. He agreed with me. So that was nice. But he borrowed this book. He was interested in this book, and he took it and had a read of it. And when he gave it back, he'd written on the, it wasn't, might not have been inside cover, might have been the first page, he'd written, cheers Jordy or something, and done a Eastern religious symbol, out of the Middle East. I don't know what it was. And then his cell phone number. And I texted him and said, g'day. And I texted him the other day. I remembered, I picked up this book and I saw the phone number. And I texted him, there goes the number, and said, cheers, Jordy, you cats are from another dimension, haven't forgotten you, good on you for being vegan, any vegan flat earthers, good by me, or something like that, right? That was the other day that I text that. Now, I picked up that book today because, I'll tell you why, because when I checked out of this hostel this morning, a guy that looked like the spitting image of Jordy walked out as I went down to check out with a big backpack, camo backpack, dropped off his key, smiled and walked out. And that guy, a lookalike, has shown up numerous times recently in different vans, and usually a different height, 5'10". The guy this morning, 6'2", 6'3". Jordy, 6'2", 6'3". But numerous times, and often in a van. Walked into the supermarket before me the other day. Walked behind me at the tyre shop the other day in Thames. Not Frankie's, Frank Bunce's tyre shop. The other one, I was getting a quote, and walked behind me with a friend, and said something about going to live on the mountain. Oh yeah, they live on the mountain. And I turned around and said, oh, that sounds nice. And they said, yeah. And I said, which mountain? They said, oh, it's private. And I said, that sounds like the best type, or something. And it's like a coded little message saying, go to the mountain, isn't it? And a guy the other day actually on his phone saying, telling me the name, oh, go to the island, that's right. And they're giving me names of islands to go to and stuff. This is the nature of Satan and the falling angels. But this Jordy character, this is another sort of Saturn archetype. And I'll just explain that because he keeps showing up. And sometimes he's tall, sometimes he's short. And I picked up this book here this morning to check that if his name was still in there. And this car, my van's been in a commercial car park in Auckland for 3 or 4 days, right? Now, the guy that fixed the electronics in my car, almost like he had the manual, showed up, a spitting image of him showed up at the backpackers this morning. Now, Jordy's name's gone out of this book. So I texted him the other day. That was a reminder that he'd written his phone number down somewhere. And then this morning, I've checked this book, and that page must be gone. The inside page where he wrote, cheers, Jordy, with the symbol and his phone number, has been ripped out of this book. It's gone. It's not there anymore. I can't explain it to you. Gone. So you piece those things together, don't you? And he keeps showing up. This morning he had his backpack. He's jumped the gun because I think he thought, well, he's sort of sending a message to me saying it's time to ditch the van and just travel around on the backpack. Time to go up the mountain, time to go to the island. He keeps dropping in and sending these messages to me. Now, I'm not saying that's Satan. I'm just, documenting this stuff. But to me, that's a Saturn archetype, and who knows? Maybe he wants to fulfill the story of going up the mountain, and he's got to fill out the whole story. I don't know. But he also reminds me, he's a spitting image, or not a spitting image, but very much similar. And I did ask Jordy this, of a guy that was in my economics class at university called Nick Winder. Now his photo might disappear, or that profile might disappear off LinkedIn later today once I upload this video. Now, I'm not saying it's the same guy, I'm just saying he looks very similar to Nick Winder. He used to sit next to me in economics. He was 6'6", Nick Winder. Probably is still 6'6". Winder, I don't know where that name comes from. And he used to describe himself as corporate problem solver, and I Facebooked him once and said corporate means death, and now he's changed it to commercial problem solver at Sky City, the big temple in Auckland Sky. Religious temple in Auckland Sky, a temple to Satan. It's gambling and drinking, isn't it? And prostitution all around it. Nick Winder helps solve their their corporate problems. But he's a spitting image. Not to slander Nick Winder at all. I'm just saying that this, if you to give a profile of Jordy, he looks almost identical, but always slightly different. Sometimes the beard, sometimes the hair color, tall, short. Well, there's hair on Jordy. He's got a good set of hair on him. Showed up in Nelson, was at the Backpackers this morning, hostel this morning as I checked out of my room. And it reminded me of Jordy, and he showed up at Thames at the supermarket the other day and numerous other times behind me at the tyre shop, different the height each time. And it reminded me this morning, so I picked up this book and the phone number's gone. That page has been ripped out. If I look carefully in there, it's possible that there's a page missing out of there. And the coffee stain matches, but the coffee stain is the same on each page. So that doesn't discount a page being removed very, very carefully from that book. You need a key to the van, but if you knew the electronics inside out, you know, I presume they've had a key to the van ever since I bought it, to be honest. And there is a spare key strapped to the van as well. So isn't that amazing? The phone number's gone this morning, and Jordy just keeps showing up over and over. Saturn has designed this beautiful, beautiful global corporate system. That's where we're at, right? This new world order. He has designed this amazing, everyone's on FPOS, everything's controlled, everything's spied through these devices. It's a beautiful, beautiful slave system he's set up, corporate system he's set up. You got to hand it to him. And he must be, you know, desperately keen to keep it all working, I imagine, unless he's there to fulfill, you know, he is actually literally there to fulfill the entire prophecy, which is the, you know, end of the world. And he's actually working towards that. You know, now that he's corporatized everything, he wants the next step. I don't know, you know, that's above my pay grade. But Jordy keeps showing up. The page has been removed. His phone number has been removed from this book, probably in the last 3 days, because I just texted him recently, and that was a reminder to him that I had his phone number somewhere. He must have thought, shit, I wrote it in that book. The car's been in the car park for 3 days, and the page has been removed with Jordy. That's where I got the phone number from. I'm not making it up. That's where I got the phone number from. That page has been removed out of this book, probably while the car was in the car park, and a lookalike of Jordy was at the hostel this morning with his backpack all ready to go. And he was out the door, and I guarantee you, they don't know where I'm going today, but I guarantee you that Jordy was all set to go up north, because I've been Googling places up north for the summer, the beaches and things where it's warm. And he'll be all ready to go to try. He'll keep showing up. Isn't that an epic story? How long is that? Because it takes a long time to upload. I'll just leave it there. Epic story. Another Saturn archetype, if not the man himself. Not to say it's Nick Winder. I'm just saying he looks very much like him. He used to sit next to me in economics class. But has kept showing up time and time again.